Have you seen those scenes in movies where a guy is arguing with the angel and the devil on his shoulder? Well, this likens to Sigmund Freud's personality theory, the id, superego, and ego. The first component is the id. Sigmund Freud states that the id is a component of the personality that forms the basis of our most primitive impulses. Think of this as the devil on our shoulder. And the id is the totally unconscious, childlike part of our mind. It is always wanting what it wants when it wants it, right then, regardless of the consequences. It is driven by the pleasure principle, demanding an instant gratification. It could be something as simple as drinking a glass of water. Your body is thirsty, you need to rehydrate, you feel that urge, so you drink water. I know I've definitely given into the pleasure principle. I have impulsively bought something because it felt good in the moment. The second part is the superego, the counter to the id. Think of it as the angel on your shoulder. It is the learned right and wrong, our internal right and wrong that we have learned, and it has two parts: the conscience and the ideal ego. The conscience is the learned should and should nots integrated from our parents and society, and the ideal ego is wanting to align you with your most ideal self through feelings of pride and accomplishment, but also guilt and shame. And an example of the ideal of the superego in play might be a person who is going through a financial hardship and they're tempted to steal, but their superego would chime in with feelings of guilt and shame, so they might not steal perhaps. And I know I have been tempted, or in my grade school years, I had been tempted to cheat on tests, but my parents had instilled a sense of academic integrity in me, so I did not. And the final concept is the ego. It is the I in the individual. It is the conscious thinking part of our mind that we identify with. And it has a hard job. It negotiates between the id and the superego. It negotiates between the angel and the devil on our shoulder. And let's say you were on a diet and you wanted a slice of cake. Instead of giving into your id and completely having a whole piece of cake, or listening to your superego and just denying yourself totally, your ego would rationalize, it would compromise between the two, negotiate, and come up with and say maybe have a healthier snack instead, or a smaller portion. And Sigmund Freud states that the ego is the largely conscious controller or decision maker of the personality. And that is Sigmund Freud's personality theory of the id, ego, and superego. Thank you.